So for our second lesson this week, we're going to be talking about Google Slides. And we're not going to go too in-depth into Google Slides. I'm just going to show you stuff that's really different about Google Slides from other products, because if you can change the font color in one product, you can change the font color in Google Slides. So we're going to look at things specific to Google Slides. So first of all, a Google Slide is equivalent to a PowerPoint. We call it slide decks, slide presentations, but it is all kind of the same thing. Now, the point of making a slide presentation is, of course, to present something, to share something. But you can also use this for a lot of other purposes in your classroom. For example, you could have a slide for each group to complete, and everyone in the classroom works on the same presentation, completes that presentation, and shares it with the class. So there are a lot of other ways you can use slide presentations. It's not just for you to present information, and it's certainly much more powerful if you have the students using it to present their information. So let's start with just looking at some of the basic things when you first create a slide deck. And we're going to look at slide themes. So on the right-hand side, as soon as I open a new presentation, I have themes pop up. Now if I accidentally close out of this and I need to get back to it, right on my toolbar here, I will find the theme button. And when I click on that, my themes will come back. Now, there are several different themes listed here on the right-hand side, and when you click on them, your whole slide deck will change. And as you go down, you can see if I click on any different ones, I'm kind of changing the different themes that are available. There are not a ton of options in here, but you can change the colors of these individual slide decks if you like them. So let's stick with this theme and see what we can do from here. After I pick my theme, which picks my fonts and all of my colors for me, I can make some other changes. So let's start with our background. On this one, I'm going to change my background color, and I'm just going to change it to red and see what changes. And you'll see in this theme, the back part of the slide changes, but this blue part still stays the same. So you may like that, you may not, but that's basically how the kind of control that you have over your themes. All right. Now, you can also change the layout of individual slides. So that's this second little button here. When I add a new slide, I can choose kind of what style I want that slide to be. And if after I've added it, I've changed my mind, I'm going to use the layout button to change it to a different style. And again, all of these styles are feeding off of the theme that I chose at the beginning. I can still go back and change my background color, and that will adjust my slide. I can even at this point go back and pick a completely different theme, and all of my slides will change. What you will notice is that when my slides change, the background colors that I chose stay the same. So that's going to kind of carry through your slide presentation, no matter which theme that you choose. Okay, so there are other ways to import themes, and we're going to talk about that briefly, but that's the gist of how you're going to set up your slide presentation. Now, if you want a slightly more exciting presentation or a theme in your presentation, if you have that theme saved in another presentation in your Google Drive, you can import it into this presentation. So I'll show you where to find some themes in a second, but I know that I have one saved in my Google Drive that I really love, and so I want this presentation to take on that theme. So I'm going to go down to Import Theme, and I happen to know that this presentation is called eGlamour, and it has a really cool theme to it. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on the template, and I'm going to import theme. Now, one thing you won't see is that it changes right away. So as soon as I import this theme, it got gray, but it didn't really change. So I'm going to go up and I'm actually going to change the layout of my slide, and here's where I see my theme has come in. And now when I change this, I'm getting my eGlamour theme that I had saved on my Google Drive. So there are a lot of really cool themes, and this is one of them that actually has all of these cool textures and pictures, and when I change the background color, it is actually changed on those individual slides. So it's very customizable. So where do you find themes like this? I would recommend a site like Slides Carnival. This is a great website. You can use PowerPoint slides or get PowerPoint slides from here, or Google Slides. So all you do is if you find one that you like and you open it up, it actually is going to give you got to be careful, there's some ads on this page. It's going to give you two links: use as a Google Slides theme or download as a PowerPoint template. When I click use as a Google Slides, it's actually going to make a copy and drop it in my drive. And I'm just going to make note of the name of this. So it's called Soliano. And I'm going to go back to my presentation, do my import theme button again, search for my presentation. I'm going to choose my theme and hit import theme. And now my slide deck is matching the theme of the presentation that I just brought in. Definitely when we're talking about slide presentations, but this works in any product, we want to talk about inserting and manipulating images because those can be really powerful in a slide deck. So let's say I want to insert an image over here on the left, and I have the image saved on my Google Drive. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to click Insert, and I can go down to Image, or I can click the Image button here, and I'm going to get a variety of options either way I go. We're going to start with Google Drive. So if I have the image saved in my Google Drive, when I go here, I can actually easily pull that image up, insert it in, and manipulate it. Now, if I don't have the image saved, I have some other options. So if it's in your Google Photos account, which we'll talk about later, then you can pull it from there. If you know the link to the image, you have a direct link to that image, you can use URL. And if you want to insert an image from your camera, you can do that as well. This is really powerful because you can actually use your webcam to take a picture of something. So I'm going to do this and show you what this looks like, but students can use their Chromebooks, you can use a Chromebook to take an image of something and drop it right in. So I'm going to click on Camera. And you may have to allow it to use your camera. So you see in the top left, it's going to say allow. It's going to turn my webcam on. I'm going to take a picture of myself, and then I'm going to insert it in. And then I can use and manipulate that image. Now you don't just want to take pictures of yourself to insert in, but if you've got a document or you want to show something or you want students to show what they've done, they can easily insert images in from their webcam. Now, probably the most powerful way to insert an image is to use the web. So I'm going to click Search the Web, and I can search for an image here of anything that I want. And any image that comes up here is actually going to be clear and free for me to reuse. So I know I'm not breaking any kind of copyright laws this way. I'm using an image that's good for me to use. So imagine your kids are making a presentation. They don't have to go out to the internet to search for images into a separate site and then they get off track. Right within their presentation, they insert an image and put it right into their presentation. And I can just drag it in. I can click on it and hit insert, and it will bring that image right in. Okay? Let's talk about manipulating images a little bit. You can easily move images around by clicking in the middle of the image and dragging it. You can resize images by using the blue squares on the outside. So you can stretch an image from one side, or you can use the corner of the image to resize it and keep its whole, like keep its actual size. So you probably want to do that more than anything else. You can use this blue circle to rotate the image so that it gets to the exact angle that you'd like it to be on your slide presentation. And then you have a few other options. So up here on my toolbar, I have some options because I'm clicked on a picture. So look at these options right here, these last four little buttons. When I click off my picture, they go away. When I click on my picture, they come back. So those are going to be really helpful to me whenever I'm working with images. First of all, I can start by cropping my image. I can crop it freestyle just by clicking on the black lines and cropping out the part of the image that I want. I can also crop it into a specific shape. So if I want this to actually be in a little bubble, then it creates my crop in the shape that I choose. When I click outside, that crop is completed. It's really, really handy. Okay. Now, if I want to reset the image back, I've messed with it, I want to reset it back to its original form, I just click this second little button and it comes right back to its original form. Okay. I can replace this image if I decide I like the shape and size of it, but I'm ready to put something different in there. When I search the web for a different image and I find that different image, it's going to actually hold the same shape and size, but it's just going to replace it with the image that I found, the new image. So even this one looks a little cut off because it was that shape and size that I wanted. And then finally, we have format options. When you open format options, you're going to get a whole slew of stuff over here on the right that you can adjust about this image. You can recolor the image to be a specific color, and depending on the image, you'll see a bigger change here. This one, you can kind of see the colors, but it's just not really adjusting my image very much. I have adjustments like I can change the brightness and the contrast. I can put a shadow on my image. Okay, and I'm going to make it a big shadow kind of far away, and you see that shadow kind of appear on the image. And then I can also make my image have a reflection. So it looks, you can see the blue and the white and black reflection down here. It kind of reflects like it's in water. And I can change all of those little options. So you have lots of different things you can do with images. Make sure you're familiar with how to put them in and how to adjust them. It's So we're going to go through a series of other things that are inside of Google Slides. Some of these things you can do in other tools. So for example, this first little option, this first little thing you can do, inserting a table, is something you can do in Slides and in Docs. So it's useful to know how to do it in all tools. A table is a great way to organize data on a blank space. So we've been talking about Google Sheets this week, and that's a great way to organize data in a spreadsheet. But I need a little bit of data here. And I can insert a table any size that I want. And when I click, it inserts my table for me. And I can easily organize and kind of keep control of data here. It's a really nice way. This can all be resized, everything can be colored, everything can be adjusted. It's a really nice way to kind of organize a set of data inside of a blank document or inside of a blank slide. It's also a really great way to give students questions on one side and let them type their answers on the other. So using just a 2-column table can actually be super useful in any kind of document or slide presentation. It helps keep things organized and all together. The second thing we're going to talk about is voice typing, and this is in all Google products. You can voice type, and it is phenomenal. And this is especially helpful for if you need to transcribe something, or you need to have a long thing to type, or if you have students who have trouble typing, they can use voice typing instead. So first, I don't have a text box on this slide, so I'm going to look for my text box button here, and I'm going to draw myself a little text box. Now I'm ready to type, but it's a real long thing, and I don't want to type at all. So I'm going to go up to Tools, and I'm going to click on Voice Type. Now, one of the tricks to voice typing in Google Slides is that it will actually not let you voice type directly on this slide. It is only going to let you voice type down here in the speaker notes, but there's a trick for getting it there, so we'll show you that in a second. So when you click on voice typing, you get a little microphone that pops up on your screen, and you'll need to click on that microphone. It's going to ask you if you want to give Google Docs the ability to use your microphone. So we're going to say yes. And as soon as I say yes, it's going to start typing. So I can literally just talk in a normal voice, period. And I can punctuate as I go on, period. And it will type exactly what I have said, period. And whenever I am done typing, I can actually just click on my red microphone and it will stop. Okay, so now in Google Slides, it types down here. I could literally cut and paste into my text box here, and I'm done typing. In a Word document or a Google document, it actually just types directly on the screen, which is really phenomenal. So if you've got students that need to just talk while they type, this is the great way to do that. Now, inserting shapes into a Google Slide presentation is really useful. You can do the same thing in other Google tools, but I'm just going to go up to Insert, and I'm going to go down to Shape. You also see I have lines here, so these work kind of the same way, but I'm going to go to Insert Shape, and I'm going to draw myself an arrow. Now, earlier when I had an image, I got a whole different set of tools, the same way with the shape. So when I'm clicked on the shape, I have this series of color options and tool options here that I don't have when I'm clicked off the shape. So I can actually change the color of the shape, the outline of the shape, the thickness of the outline of the shape, and the type of outline on the shape. I can resize and move the shape exactly how I did my image. It's very similar. I do have 2 little orange squares here, and those do different things on different shapes. So on my arrow, it changes the head of my arrow, and it changes the thickness of the bar of the arrow. So it just depends what type of shape you have here. And shapes are really great to insert on all things, and you can actually make any image into a shape, as we saw earlier. The other thing you can do on Google Slides is insert a diagram, and there's some other cool little things in here we can insert. So I'm going to go to Insert Diagram first. Now, these are great for presentations because they're visually attractive, they allow you to organize information, and they make it easy to display that information. So I'm going to start by clicking on Hierarchy, and before I click on one that I like, I'm going to change how many levels that hierarchy has. So I want one with 5 levels. I can change the colors. And you see I'm only given a few options here. You can customize the whole thing later, but it's pulling these options from my theme. So I like the purple one. I'm going to scroll down, and I really like the design of this one. So when I click on it, it's going to insert it directly into my document. Now I have full control here to change the text. It's basically inserted for me a bunch of shapes, and each of those shapes I can then do the same thing I did with my previous shapes and change the color of each one if I want to. This is a great way to display information. Some other tools that we can insert, some other things that we can insert into our slides that we're not really going to talk about, but I want you to be aware that they're there. Under the Insert menu, you can also insert charts and graphs, very similar to what we did from Sheets earlier, and you can even pull ones that you've made from Sheets in. You can insert word art, which is kind of the old fancy drawing, like word titles that you used to put into Microsoft Documents. We talked about lines, and you can also insert slide numbers. So you can put at the bottom of each slide a little number that relates to that slide. And then of course you can you can move that around, change the font, make it bigger, smaller, etc. Okay. Now videos are pretty powerful tools in presentations as well. And you can insert videos that you've created, or you can insert YouTube videos that you find. So let's look at how to do that. Same way up to our Insert menu, and we're going to click on Video. And I'm going to have three options at the top. I'm going to be able to search YouTube, I'm going to be able to put a link, or I can go to my Google Drive and find a video that I've created. So I'm going to actually just search YouTube for a video from our class. So I've named them all MISD, GCE, and I'm going to hit search. And it's going to bring up the videos that I've created. So there's one that I've created here, and I'm going to select that video and drop it right into my presentation. Okay. I can resize the video, make it as big or as small as I want. And when people watch this, of course, they can make it full screen so they can see it easier. And I do have some video options here. So those will pop up over on the right-hand side. And what I can do is choose that I want the video to actually start, let's say at 6:24. So I adjust that, click Use Current Time, and then it will play the video. If I don't like the audio, but I want the images, I can mute the audio of the video. And then when I'm presenting it, I want it to just play. So I'm going to check autoplay when presenting, and we'll see what that looks like later. The last thing I want to show you is how the Explore tool works inside of Google Slides. So if you're doing a presentation, let's say about photosynthesis, and you'd like to add an image about photosynthesis, or you know that you did a presentation about it before, or a document you used about it before, and you need to pull that up. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to use photosynthesis as my search term, and I'm just going to click on Explore in the bottom right-hand corner. I can also go up to Tools and Explore. Same thing, we'll pull up on the right-hand side. Now, I'm going to type in my word up here that I want to search for. So I want to do photosynthesis, and I'm going to get three options: the web results, image results, and results from my drive. These web results, if I need to quickly find information about photosynthesis, I can click on these links, and in a new tab, Google Chrome will open up the link to that website. So if I'm trying to find something quickly to include in my slide presentation, I can easily find good resources this way. The second little option for images allows me to find images related to photosynthesis, and then I can insert that into my slide deck. So very quickly, just insert that image, and then I can resize it and use it how I need to. Okay? The great thing about this, when I insert an image this way, is that it actually links it to its original source. So I'm sort of giving credit here and making sure that I'm using an image that's copyright free. The last option is your drive. So if you've had anything created in your Google Drive that is related to photosynthesis, it's going to pop up here. And when you open those things up, it's going to open in another window so that you can use it. So when you finally finished your presentation and you're ready to present it, you have some options for a presentation style. So first of all, the easiest way, you just click on this Present button, and your presentation starts. It's going to go full screen, you can click through it, and as you're going through your presentation, you're going to have some options down here at the bottom. You can do little notes, you can pull up your notes on your screen. If you've made notes, you can pull up a pointer, and your mouse will be red as you move it around the screen. And you can pull up a Q&A session. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to show you another way to get into this so you can see. So instead of just clicking the Present button, if I hit this little arrow and I do Presenter View, what that's going to do is bring up two screens for me. So it's got my presentation going on over here, and then I've got a Presenter View screen. But this is really great if you're presenting on two screens, and everyone that you're presenting to sees this side, where you see this side. But what you can do here is actually allow audiences to see and ask questions during your presentation. So check this out. I'm going to click Start New, and it's going to give me a link. And so I'm going to take this little link, and I would put that up on the board and let everybody see that little link. And in fact, on my actual presentation over here, it's showing that link. So let's pull that up and see what that looks like. When I pull that up, and this is, for a person watching my presentation, they just type in their question, and it'll show whether they can ask as themselves or ask anonymously. So imagine your students asking questions during your presentation rather than just sitting and watching. When you click submit on your presenter view, you see that question. And you can actually just address it right there. You can present that question. So I'm going to go back to my presentation, and there's the question from Whitney York, and it shows it right on the screen so everybody can see. Okay, really, really cool way to get feedback while you're doing a presentation. So again, this is in presenter view, and then what I've done is actually turned on the audience tool to accept questions. Okay, really cool way to present. Now, one of the things that you're going to see throughout here are speaker notes, and you'll see those on the left-hand side as well, and we saw them a little bit earlier in a different view. So I want to show you here how you put speaker notes in, and it's really simple. Just down here at the bottom of each slide, you can type speaker notes, and these are just for you to see. So when you're presenting and you have the presenter view going, you're going to see your speaker notes down at the bottom of your slides. I'm going to go here. And here you go. So there are my speaker notes that I typed in for just a second there. So it's a really great way to present. Now you also notice down here in the left-hand corner, there's a little timer going. So the whole time I'm presenting, it's timing me. So if you can only present for 5 minutes, that's great, because you can watch yourself and time yourself through all of the slides. So those are your presenter tools, and great way to kind of get feedback from your audience using the feedback tool.